Welcome to another episode of what's this show? Oh yeah, okay, Boomer. What a boomer I am.
Damn, you forgot already.
I forgot already. Brought to you by our friends over at the Inked Marketing team. Inked Marketing. If you need that extra push to get your Indiegogo or Kickstarter over the finish line and funded, contact Kevin Gillette over at Inked Marketing. www.inked.marketing. That's www.inked.marketing. And don't forget, today is the final day to get your hands on the Warlash Kickstarter for the mind of Frank Forte and our friends over at Asylum Press. Check it out today. You can get your copy at inked.pub/Warlash. And now, on with the show.
Man, all right. So this week we're doing Superman versus Hulk, and I just realized we did Superman last week too, but it was Superman versus the Joker.
Well, you know, some days you're just gonna say, "Fuck it."
Hey,
but you know, we didn't. That was Jock, and this is the Dude.
And the thing is, I don't think we've done an episode with the Dude, but he is probably my favorite artist working in comics today. He is absolutely incredible, and
he put together a big fat book of the Nexus comic strips.
Yep,
that he did, and Mike Barron has them. The Red Baron, prepaid, shipped. I think it's like $35. It's a big book, but the Red Baron told me that later this year he's going to release them in full size because they were giant strips. They were huge.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny.
What?
I mentioned I promoted Warlash, and now Frank Forte with Warlash is on Critical Blast on YouTube right now doing his countdown show.
Oh, okay.
So see, I was serious about that shit, you know? But anyhow, the Red Baron says later on this year that the Dude is re-releasing that, but basically in full size, one of those big giant artist edition things. And I'm like, it's probably going to be like a few $100, but man, that would so be worth it.
And Nexus is actually a great strip for a great comic.
Oh, yeah.
If you've never read it, Nexus is incredible. But I mean, we won't do it next week, but we need to do it later on. Probably one of the books that I have heard that people say that a lot of people say is his biggest influence on them in comics is the I can't remember who wrote it. Remember when Steve Rude did the miniseries World's Finest?
Mm-hmm.
The 3-issue World Finest a couple years ago. Well, a couple years ago, 10, 15 years ago now.
we're such boomers today. Oh my God. A couple of years ago, like 2 decades by.
Yeah, whatever the hell. It was a long time ago, but that's incredible. But yeah, and this has got two of my favorites, man. I mean, the cover just screams, just classic. Because I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, the dude always wants to draw the characters how he thinks they should look, and I mean, this is freaking, this is Jack Kirby Hulk all day long, and this is George Reeves Superman. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could say whatever you want. Yeah. This is George Reeves Superman. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. So there's our.
Yeah, you can tell just the way the cape falls off the back.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but I mean, when we get into the book, you see he's got that damn George Reeves chin, man. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. All right, so we get first page is Incredible. That's double lives. I included it, so we get this is actually written by Roger Stern. I didn't realize that when I picked it again. Mm-hmm. Steve Rude's the penciler. Al Milgrom inks it. Jim Novak letters it. Steve Olaf colors, and then we've got some other people there.
But and of course, with acknowledgement to the work of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Jerry Siegel and
Joe Shuster.
Worcestershire Shire sauce.
Yep, one of them.
Yep. Turn the page.
I have actually read this before, but it's been a long time, and I forgot how good it was.
I came across my copy while I was going through, this big giant mess over here. So,
and the thing that's cool, we've talked about this as crossover books before, kind of like your Teen Titans book we did.
Yeah,
we did the Teen Titans versus the X-Men. Teen Titans versus X-Men. And they just kind of plop them in the same world and say they exist all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And, Roger Stern does the exact same thing here. As far as we're concerned, Superman and the Hulk exist in the same universe in this story. Only Superman lives, and the Hulk even tells him, you're the guy from out east. And this takes place after Superman and Lois are married, or this part of the story does, and then most of the story is actually a flashback to before they get married, when there's rival reporters at the plant.
And that's when it really when you can really tell that this is George Reeves.
Yeah, exactly.
He's dressing exactly like him. He's got the fedora just like him.
Yes. But I mean, and that's the whole thing. That's the thing that George Reeves gave to the character. George Reeves' Superman is so different than Christopher Reeve's Superman, because Christopher Reeve gave us that bumbling Superman that nobody thought, and even that was kind of in the comics. He's a bumbling kind of guy. But earlier in the 50s, and even in the old Fleischer studios, and then John Byrne brought it back. Clark Kent's not a dummy. He's actually, he's physically impressive because he's Superman. He's super smart, and he's there. And, it's just everybody got that idea, even from the cartoon a little bit. Oh, God, Clark's in trouble again. No, he's not in trouble. He's a damn reporter, and he's there doing his job. But so the story starts off. Lois is watching a news broadcast, and they're talking about the Hulk. And he's out west, rampage, and he's a monster, and does he do this? And she, he's, founding member of the Avengers, the Earth's mightiest heroes. And Lois kind of makes a joke, well, they can't be the Earth's mightiest heroes. They don't have Superman on the team. And then here comes Superman, who's, miss me. And she's like, of course I miss you. They sort of, swap a little kiss there. And, then they sit down together and watch. And there's your George Reeves Superman right there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they watch, and then she talks back about, hey, you remember the first time you met the Hulk? So in this story, as far as we're concerned, Superman has met the Hulk a couple times, and he's like, yeah, I remember. They have a little discussion about whether anybody could realize, because nobody realizes that Dr. Banner is the Hulk. And Betty's like, it's easy. You wear just glasses and nobody realizes that you're Superman anymore. And then, he begins to reminisce about, how him and the Hulk have, some things in common. He was, kind of created by an explosion of Krypton, and then, Banner was created by, the Hulk was created by the actual gamma bomb. And dude, the bottom panel here is absolutely stunning. It looks like from the damn first issue of Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Which that's one of my favorite. That is my favorite of the origin stories that they did, the early ones. It's just so good. And in the reprints, they always miss the part 2 when the Hulk has to fight the gargoyle. But yeah, there's Rick Jones, and Superman's talking about, he stumbled into, Banner stumbled into the explosion trying to save Rick Jones, and in the process, created the Hulk. And you see the military there in the back.
Oh yeah.
And then we just, now we're no longer at this point. We're remembering, all those years ago, but now it's kind of like the story takes over, and there's Banner waking up. But longtime Hulkophiles know that back when the Hulk was first created, for about, all through Tales to Astonish, Banner tried to control the Hulk by actually locking himself in this cave where he had a huge steel door that come down, and he had to get his the Hulk always managed to beat out of the steel door somehow, or it never closed right. So he would go and hide during the nighttime when the Hulk would come out, and then in the daytime he'd remove the door. Rick Jones would open the door of the day, and he would come out, and he'd go to work. So nobody ever knew that the Hulk, was really Bruce Banner for a while. So, Doc Banner wakes up and he's screaming, and here comes Rick. He's like, "Are you okay?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm just having a really vivid nightmare. It's terrible." And lo and behold, he turns into the Hulk. So this is kind of like the first where they do the transition from, it's no longer night that makes the Hulk come out, but it's anger, which happened in the comics too. I can't remember what issue that happened, but we see it here. And so the Hulk, Banner turns into the Hulk, and he knocks Rick Jones away. He's like, "Get out of the way, kid."
And he turned away for a second, and he's like, boom.
Yeah. It just knocks the hell out of him.
He's the Hulk, and it was, that was just an experience of, Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Exactly. And he even I think you tell this is when they wrote this, like I said, they are trying to channel those early issues when the Hulk actually talked a lot more. Because the longer it went on, the stupider he got. But yeah, he goes outside, and he's all 50s. There's Rick Jones chasing him, or 50s, 60s. He's even got his cuffed blue jeans, and the Hulk knocks him down. He's like, "I'm sick of being Banner," and he jumps away. Which, for those who don't know, the first issue where the Hulk starts jumping like that is issue 3, where they claim he can fly, but he's not really flying. He's just jumping.
A long distance.
Yeah, a long distance.
Because somebody told him he was a My Little Pony. Must have been your wife.
Must have been his wife. But yeah, the whole thing here is this little part we're at is the big things like we talked about. Rick is like, "Oh my God, Banner has turned into the Hulk during the day, and he's never done this. This is really bad. You should get back in your lab." And the Hulk knocks him off and then leaps away. And then, simultaneously at a large Midwestern university, here's Clark Kent, dressed in his pinstripe suit and everything. And he's visiting a scientist who has actually developed a new, what does he call those? Seismograph that detects earthquakes.
Yeah, seismograph.
That's right. So he's got a new seismograph that detects the most minute of, shakings of the earth, and it's, he could see the random shaking, and he's like, "What is it?" And the machine shorts out, and Clark saves him, of course, because he's Clark. He knocks him down. He's like, "Oh my God, well, let me get out of here!" And there he takes his fedora off, and he's like, "Whatever's going on out in the Midwest, that caused the machine to short out, maybe Superman needs to check it out." So he changes into his costume there, and then it flashes back into Arizona, where they're at this general store. These people are having a dang on barbecue, dude. And here comes the Hulk flying in because he's hungry, and he attacks not really attacks, but he goes to, yeah, he does. He attacks the barbecue grill and eats all this damn food.
He's eating like all the chicken and the steak and everything.
Yeah, he's eating everything.
He's like, "Brr."
Yeah, he's like your kid. I'm just shoving it in his mouth. Oh, and oh Lord, what if that don't fill him up?
It's it's like Otis's General Store back in the day when the general store used to like make food
and carry everything.
So you could go there, get, it was like a five and dime, like a little mini department store, so they had like a little bit of everything.
Yep.
And they served food in the afternoons, and you could probably like get sandwiches later on in the day. And
I will take some pictures and send them to you privately, but there is a general store like this, a real legit 140-year-old general store that's about 40 miles from me. It's over there where I work at now. And
I am not surprised.
They sell everything. And you pull off the road, and there's a guy there. He's about 70 years old. But his main business is, besides the food and the other stuff, is like Western wear. But that's it, dude. And it looks just like this. You go in there, and you remember the old wood bins where they used to put all the fruit and vegetables? You'd go and pick them up off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
All that's there still. He opens every day. But anyway, so the Hulk eats all this food. What's funny is, like I said, for those who read the Hulk, this is not the first time this has happened in the comics. He has been stopped because he's been hungry multiple times, and people always want to mess with him. So they're like, what if that doesn't fill him up? And Superman shows up, and he's, doing the classic, George Reeves pose there. And Superman looks up the Hulk looks up at him. He's got a damn chicken bone sticking out of his mouth. It's like, who are you? And you're the big shot from back east. And, Superman's like, I wouldn't say that. So he jumps down there to try and, stop the Hulk, which the Hulk's really not really doing anything other than eating all these people's food. And he gets pissed off. So he swings at him and throws the freaking, Superman grabs his arm, and the Hulk just throws him through the building. And after he comes back,
and apparently a couple of cactus.
Yeah, throw through cactuses and all this stuff. And Superman comes right back. He's like, God, he's fast. And he tackles him again, but the Hulk like slings his ass up into outer space. He's like, whoa, he's fast.
And strong.
And strong.
He threw him past the sun.
Yeah. He threw the hell out of him.
I mean, we can see it and everything, but we're not really that close. There's two other planets in orbit around the gas giant before us. So
he threw the hell out of him, okay?
Yeah.
And Superman even says, and that's what made me read this. I saw it in another group. Somebody's like, or it was on a page, and they're like, how strong really is the Hulk based on Superman? And then it said, like Superman says in their fight, that the Hulk is stronger than anyone he's ever fought against. And this is where he says, he's stronger than anyone I've ever fought against. And Superman, recovers himself from being in outer space and then flies back down to see where the Hulk is. But when he gets there, the Hulk is left. And all the people are like, wow, it's Superman, the Hulk, like whatever. And he left, and they're like, well, where did he go? He went over them hills over there, but he took all the food before he jumped away, so he was still hungry. And I do like, so Superman's like, he could be anywhere, and like the wind is blowing away all his tracks, and he's been gone long enough that his heat signature has then been dispersed, so he can't see it. And so he really can't track the Hulk. And he says, well, I'm probably do a better job tracking him down if I head back to Metropolis and do some research at the Daily Planet. And then that's where we see Lois, before they get married, where she's still pissed off at Clark Kent for getting the expose at Superman. And she's like really watching him. He's been doing, he's on to something since he got back from out west. And she sees all these pictures of the Hulk everywhere. So what does Lois do? Back in the day, for those who don't know, Lois was not the nicest lady.
Lois would do, pardon my crassness, but Lois is the biggest cock blocker in all of Metropolis.
Yes, she was.
She'll cock block anybody for anything.
Yes, she was rough. Old school Lois was a bitch. She loved Superman hated everybody else. You're all stupid. Superman wouldn't put up with your crap. And so she steals a picture from off Clark's desk of the Hulk and goes around his back and goes to Perry White to say, hey, I think I can figure out who this monster is. It'll be the biggest expose ever. So he's like, no problem. So Perry White assigns Lois that and sends her out west. And Clark Kent goes in and he's like, hey, look, man, I've been working on this story all day. I've been like doing leads and everything else. It's like, well, you should have spoken up sooner. How did I know she was going to go around my back and steal my damn story and probably all my notes? So Superman still wants the story as a cover for him going out west. So he's like, well, how about I interview Doc Banner, the scientist out west? But of course he doesn't know that Banner is the Hulk at this point. He's like, I'll interview Dr. Banner and, because he's trying to track down the Hulk as well. And it'll be a science story and that'll draw people, in and readers. So Perry White says, not a problem. You can do it. So he flies out to New Mexico to try and track down Dr. Banner now, while Lois is flown to New Mexico.
To block him again.
Down the Hulk. Yeah. So there she is. And she shows up and she meets this sheriff who's like, he won sheriff for being, the only person to ever stand up to the Hulk. And he said, yeah, I run it. And when I ran as the sheriff that stood up the Hulk, everybody's like, cool, yeah, we'll vote for it. Now, what's cool is, and I don't know how much you've read of this, but let's go ahead and say we've read pretty much all of these stories. This is freaking the Hulk 3 right here. This is when Hulk versus the Ringmaster, when the Ringmaster took control of him in the bottom panel. So this is the sheriff, and the events that happened in Hulk 3 is what led this guy to become sheriff. And Lois is talking to him about it. And then she heads out, and she heads to see the military base, and she's talking to some of the MPs there, and talks about how the Hulk was a prisoner and he escaped. And then she goes to talk to some other people. They keep telling her, the Hulk disappeared. I can't remember what issue this one is, but then this one, the kid's talking about, you need to talk with Rick Jones. Rick Jones is the guy that helped set up our ham radio operation, which put the Avengers together. And he says, we helped the Hulk defeat the Metal Master. That's Hulk 6. So Betty keeps hearing this Rick Jones guy get mentioned because he was everywhere in early Marvel. And she goes looking for him. Maybe if I find Rick Jones, who seems to be connected to the Hulk, I'll find the Hulk. And unbeknownst to her, like way away on a mesa, Rick is actually using some kind of high tech looking devices, binoculars that Dr. Banner's actually created to track the Hulk down, and he's using a like a hologram. He finally gets the Hulk's attention, and when the Hulk shows up, he's so pissed off at Rick Jones for tricking him that he takes a swipe at him, and then you remember doing that in school with the little rubber band and the little flicky things. So Rick Jones shoots a damn tranquilizer in the Hulk, which causes him to turn back into Dr. Banner. And they're like, "Oh my God, I've been the Hulk. How long?" Do what? What were you going to say?
Rick was like, "Here's your glasses. Here's your specs. Come on, let's go."
Yeah, let's go. We got to get in the car. We got to get back to the base because your boss, the general, is pissed off because you've been gone for, however many days. So they gets in the glasses, the car, and they head off. Check out that vulture, dude. He's like evil and stuff, like my kids say. Yeah. So they head off, and Rick Jones is in his cool hot rod, and he just drops damn Banner off at the edge of the base. And Banner turns around, and when he turns around, there's George Reeves. Superman. Clark Kent. There he is.
Same thing. Dang it.
Same thing. So,
bless your heart.
Kent shakes his hand and he's like, "Hey man, we're looking for the Hulk, and we're talking about your work and all this other stuff. And why don't you show me around?" So when he takes him, into the base, they're not, in the base, not even 10 minutes, and freaking Thunderbolt Ross is all over him. He's like, "Where the hell have you been? You've been out, doing whatever." And Banner's like, "I've been working." And he says, "Yeah, well, I've been hosting corporate VIPs." And he has no idea who, Banner has no idea who it is. He's like, "VIPs," and even Clark, who's like, "Who are the VIPs?" And then when he turns around, dude, this is like old school Lex Luthor when he still had some hair.
Yeah. And red at that.
Yeah, it's always been red. I think in the early issues it wasn't, but it's always been red when he had it. You remember, what is it, Alexander Luthor the third or whatever, his third clone? Yeah.
Yeah. The one that was that came from like a different Earth during Crisis. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Alexander Luthor was actually a good guy, not a bad guy.
No, but he had a full head of red hair.
Oh yeah.
So there's Luthor. He's coming up. He's like, he's got people with him, and he's got Betty Ross with him, who's sporting a wonderful polka dot dress. And he goes up to meet Banner. He's like, "I'm with LexCorp. We followed your career with interest and all your weapons that you've been building for the military, and we're here to see it. Especially your gamma ray research." And Thunderbolt Ross is just like, "Oh God, Banner's a damn idiot." He's upset, and so Luthor takes Betty and the Banner off to go see his stuff, and then there's Clark, who's like, "What in the hell is Luthor doing out here?" And then meanwhile, here is Rick Jones at a real classic IHOP.
Yeah, man, I miss these.
Yes, dude. Sonic does not cut it.
No.
We
had an A&W up by my cousin's that I guess like up until the time I was like 20. the girls were still like skating out to the cars and doing orders and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so Rick is at a classic IHOP or drive-in getting his food, and we kind of, for those of us that have been paying attention, you see this white car pull up, and all the ladies are kind of giving Rick the cold shoulder, and then this like super hot, kind of wearing next to nothing with their shirt tied up here, Lois Lane comes up and she's like, "Hey, I'm looking for Rick Jones. Does anybody know him?" And of course, Rick is like, "Hey, I'm Rick Jones."
Right here.
Right here. Yeah, you ain't got to ask me twice. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm friends with the Hulk." So when she says that, so I'm looking for the Hulk. Rick just like peels out of there. He's sorry, I got to run. And she's mad. You said, "I spent 36 hours tracking you down. It's not over." And she's, fuming at Rick, and then she turns around and there's Superman ordering a root beer float. You talking about A&W?
Ordering a root beer float and flirting with all the girls, and they're all on the phone calling everybody.
Yeah,
Superman's here. He's drinking a root beer float. He's cute.
He's really here.
He's right here.
Yeah. And so she's mad now. She's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Hey, Luther's in town." So she's like, "Did all of Metropolis follow me out here? What is Luther up here? What's Luther up to?" And Superman, "Hey, I don't know, but I'm here." And yeah, there's all the girls. It's really him. So he kind of tells her that he's going back to see what Luther's up to, and he flies off and leaves her, and Lois is just madder than a wet hornet. So
finds Rick Jones, he screws.
Yeah.
Finds Superman, he flies. He flirts with a couple other. He's flirting with other girls, having a root beer float, and then leaves her in the lurch too.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to pay for it. They give it to him on the house. Here's a free root beer float.
Where do you keep money in a spandex costume?
I don't. The Tick carries $2 bills.
Spoon.
Yep. So Superman flies back to the base, and he's like, "No wonder Lex is here. Most of this equipment looks like it come from LexCorp." And he's trying to see down into the base, but he says, the actual
the lead lining.
The gamma place has lead lining or something, so he actually can't see inside of it, which makes sense because he's dealing with radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we go inside of the actual facility, so there's Banner finally showing off this damn giant gamma ray laser gun to Lex Luthor, and he's like, "Man, this is wonderful. It'll do all kind of damage. It could kill millions of people." And Banner's like, "I really don't want to use it to kill people and stuff."
That's not what it's for.
Yeah, it's for experimentation. But then Luthor still keep going on. He's like, "Hey, I've been following your work. You want to quit working for the military and come work for us? The benefits are better, the pay's better." And somebody calls him to the phone. So, or he hears the phone, and then Bruce goes and picks up the phone, and it's Rick Jones. And he's like, "Look, there's a Snoopy reporter asking about the Hulk." And, Rick's like, or Banner's like, "Really? That's kind of odd. I talked with a reporter earlier." And so now they've got two reporters in town, one that's talking to, Bruce, and the other one's looking for the Hulk. And, then of course Banner's upset. He's like, "Where's Betty going with freaking Lex Luthor?" And so he heads out to go and see what in the world Luthor and Betty Ross are going to do. Not Betty Banner. She's Betty Banner later. And when he runs out of the building, he slams right into Superman. And he tells him, "Hey, look, have you seen Betty? I thought I saw her with Luthor." And Clark, of course, tells him, he says, "Yeah, they just left." And we see inside of their Luther's limo where he's actually got a picture of the Hulk and a picture of Superman, and he's plotting to make them fight each other. So, with Luther gone, Clark and Bruce talk a little bit more, and he sneaks a peek at the files, and he sees all the files about the Hulk and everything, and then he actually tells Bruce, "Hey man, I fought the Hulk earlier. He's really strong and stuff," and he upsets Bruce so much he has to take a bunch of tranquilizers to calm down. And he's like, "Yeah, Kent's right. The Hulk is a threat. I got to keep my emotions in check. Otherwise, I risk releasing the Hulk." And this kind of threw me off. This panel did a little bit, and then I realized it's they're watching film footage.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
like a slideshow almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Hulk has been caught in this military contraption that is supposed to say magnetically stop him or something, and he says he uses like 25 tons of pressure and bends it up. Meanwhile, Thunderbolt Ross is like showing Luther this, and this is Slimeball Luther right here. Here's Banner trying to like talk to Betty, and Luther's pawing her and everything else.
Yeah, he's got his hand on her knee.
Yeah, he's freaking pawing her, and
dirty bastard.
Of course, then we see Betty, who can't get into the military base because she's not there on official business. She's looking for the Hulk. She's not talking to anybody. So she's watching, because apparently they're watching this crap outside. I don't know why they're watching it outside, but they are, through binoculars. And she's like, "There's Luther." And she's like, "I need to get to Betty Ross and tell her to stay away from him because he's a slime ball, even though, whatever." And then after after all the film footage is done, I guess they must have been outside later at Luther's house or whatever, and that's where they came to show it. They head off and leave, and then there's Luther, who hangs around, and he goes back in, and he's all the while still scheming on how to get the Hulk and Superman to fight. And eventually, Betty finally hooks up with Lois Lane, who tells her that the damn Luther is a slime ball and you need to stay away from him. And I'm out here looking for the Hulk. And while they're talking, there's like a whirlwind that comes up, and it's inside the whirlwind is the Hulk, who, while there's the Hulk shows up with Betty and them, we see Clark and Bruce back at the base, and they're talking about, the Hulk and, such, deadly radiation and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And Banner's still thinking about it. And of course, guess it can't be too long because Clark Kent's cell phone goes off, and he answers it. And when he answers it, he hears that Lois is telling him that the Hulk attacked her car.
Hold on, that was the first mistake in this, because the time frame of this story.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as cell phones.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. There were no cell phones in the 60s. But so there's his cell phone. And so she's talking to her on her cell phone with the sheriff. And she's like, the Hulk attacked my car, destroyed it, and kidnapped Betty Ross. So Clark Kent gets up and he's like, I got to go. And he runs off. And when he runs off, then Bruce Banner runs off, and here comes Luther. He's like, Doctor, have you heard the terrible news? And he's like, yeah, I can't hear it now. So everybody's running ass. He says, and I think Luther knows that has figured out that Banner's the Hulk. So Banner runs and hops into Rick Jones's car because, of course, he's conveniently parked right outside the military base in his little hot rod, and they haul ass to the
why wouldn't he be?
Yeah,
because Rick is Bruce's stalker.
Yeah, in the early issues he was.
Mm-hmm.
So Superman shows up and helps them put the damn broke ass car on the little trailer here so they can haul it off. And he tells Lois, he says, I don't know what happened with the Hulk, but his heat trail's still heading west, and I'm going to head that way. So he flies off and leaves Lois stranded again. Maybe the nice record drivers will give her a ride back to the house. And so he's flying toward the Hulk. And meanwhile, Rick and Bruce are heading toward the Hulk. And finally,
and then Bruce turns into the real Hulk.
Yeah, he turns into the real Hulk and leaps out of the damn car. Like, I love how his shoes are all tore up and everything. And he's jumping around looking for this, looking for the Hulk that kidnapped Betty. And he finally sees him. And then when he lands there, the Hulk's like, this girl belongs to the Hulk. And they get into a massive fight. And, Luther's just, eating this up. He's like, oh my God, this robot that I created for the military, is going to get destroyed. And the Hulk does. He destroys the damn thing. And, but the whole thing is somebody's like, if he's going to destroy it, why are you trying to do that? And Luther tells him he's wanting to get the Hulk mad enough so that when Superman does show up, they'll just start pounding on each other. And that's exactly what happens. Superman sees him and thinks that the Hulk has kidnapped Betty, and he hits him full force. It knocks him through all these mountains. And then this is where he throws his ass through some cactuses. When I saw this, I'm like, man, these are some strong ass cactuses. So Superman throws the Hulk away, and then he talks to Betty, and he's like, he kidnapped you. And Betty tells him, no, it was some sort of metal robot. So Superman quickly looks around, and he finds the remnants of the robot, and he's like, somebody's playing games here. And he's like, I already know who it is. So here comes the helicopter just looking for Betty. And he leaves her there. And Superman flies off after the Hulk. I actually had to look at this twice. So the Hulk's like, I hope I never lay eyes on that miserable piece of crap. And then here comes Superman flying out, and he puts all the damn cactus needles in his mouth and spits them at him like little missiles.
It's like, we don't need the porcupine in this issue. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. That's a great issue of Captain America. So yeah, he shoots all these damn cactus needles at Superman, who's like, whoa. And so he's like, whoa. And then they get into a fight. Of course, here comes the military, who just starts, Thunderbolt Ross is just unloading on everybody. Here comes all the bullets and everything, while the Hulk and Superman are just pounding at each other in the air. They destroy all these, this freaking tank. The Hulk picks up all these missiles and throws them at Superman, who dodges them. And, they keep, Superman keeps, knocking the Hulk down. He's like, I'm trying to tell you to calm down, that somebody's putting against us. And, the Hulk's still not listening. They're all fighting. And then Luther finally says, hey, use the gamma ray gun, and that'll actually stop this. So Superman actually manages to bury the Hulk into this mountain. And when he does, the Hulk comes out, and that's when the military and Luther turn the gamma gun on the Hulk and Superman. And he does it because Luther wants to kill both of them. So they're all like in pain. And the Hulk talks to him, and he's like, have you got enough strength to throw me at the cannon? And Superman, he's like, I'll try. And Superman does. He slings the Hulk's ass out of the gamma rays, and he throws him into the cannon. And then it causes the cannon to actually explode. Of course, all the rest of the people get out of the way. They run out of the building. They're safe. But the building blows up as Superman catches, he catches Luther and his scientist, whatever dude. And as the building blows up, they look for Banner, and they can't find him anywhere. Superman's like, I don't know where he went, not Banner, but looking for the Hulk. He's like, I don't know. And Superman tells Luthor, he's like, I know you were up to this. And Luthor, of course, denies it all. And way outside the base is Rick Jones, the Hulk stalker. Like, oh my God, I don't even know if the Hulk could have survived that explosion. And then from behind the rocks, here comes Bruce Banner, who did manage to survive, which we find out that there was a secret access tunnel underneath it that he got out of. And he talks with Rick Jones, who, of course, has another pair of eyeglasses for him and some more clothes. So then, now
Rick is just going around like Kirk and Spock and McCoy used to, and like, coming back to this timeline and just stealing clothes off of people's wash lines, and looks like it'll fit. Yeah, try these.
Try these. So now we finally get Betty, who's looking for the Hulk story, on the base, and Superman's like, look at this. Doesn't it look familiar? And she's like, the Hulk was a robot. He's like, the Gentleman article, I destroyed it and everything. It destroyed the gamma ray gun. And, Betty's pissed off. Or not Betty, but Lois is pissed off. She's like, who built this? Says, it looks a lot like something from LexCorp. And, Luthor just is like, yeah, somebody must have done it. I'll not rest till I get to the bottom of it. And yeah, exactly.
I'll not rest till they get to the bottom of when I made that.
Exactly.
And who I can blame.
So he gets in the car, drives off, and Superman's still like, telling everybody, the Hulk was a robot and all this. And then finally Banner shows up. And Betty's, I was so worried, and he's like, yeah, I love you too. And then Luthor drives off, and he's so pissed off he throws out his tore up picture of Superman away. And then it flashes back to the Daily Planet, where Lois decides she's written an article on Superman versus the Hulk, and then shoves it in Dan Clark's face. Look, I beat you on this story. This is because you beat me to the Superman exclusive. And Clark is just like, hey, yeah, you deserve it. It's a great story. Thanks. And then shows them thinking, and then that flashes back to the current time where they're still watching this documentary on Betty Ross and Bruce Banner.
And the wedding.
In the wedding. Yeah, which is, I think, like issue 319 is when they get married.
Yeah.
And Superman's sitting there, I wish I could have done more. I didn't know that Banner was the Hulk. And then they talk about, I can't remember what issue this is, but I remember when it happened, when Betty actually dies from the gamma poisoning.
Yep.
And comes back later when she's resurrected, because nobody stays dead in comics except for Uncle Ben. Used to be Uncle Ben and Bucky, but now it's just Uncle Ben.
Yeah, well, they didn't want Ben coming back and claiming the residuals from his rice.
From his rice. Damn it. So she's like, there's the Hulk and the dead, dead Betty Banner at this point. And, we see watching a, bunch of TV screens. You remember when that used to be like that? TVs were in actual department store screens and
department store windows,
and Banner's really upset about it, and it shows him walk off how he's like so upset,
and you can almost hear the music from the TV show playing.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the end of the issue. That's the last page.
Yeah, it's like a little over 50 pages, like 51 pages.
Yeah, and it does. It ends like the TV show. It is an absolute phenomenal read. Art is absolutely stellar. The story is great. There is the one or two little faux pas that, we talked about, the cell phone and, some of the timeline, but it all blends so nicely. to kind of compact a bunch of the history of the Hulk into one book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a great issue. I forgot how good it was, and like I said, I saw it because somebody was talking about the how strong the Hulk was. That Superman said he was the strongest. I read it pretty quickly. I actually had to read it when I got home from work today again, so it was fresh in my brain.
Yeah, I read about half of it the other day, and then I finished it up tonight while I was having dinner. So
Did you? Yeah, it's really, like I said, just the art is just so amazing, dude. Um, and there's a cool documentary if you haven't watched it. Watched it a while back. It was on Amazon Prime on Steve Rude, and some of the problems he's had, and the fact that he's managed to overcome them, and now he's kind of like doing like Alex Ross now. He does more cover work than anything else. But whenever he does an issue, I try and pick it up. Doesn't matter what it is.
oh yeah,
He is just that good. I mean, a couple of years ago, I don't know if you ever read it. I have all of them. You remember Future Quest? Is that a no?
it sounds familiar, but
That's Steve Rude was one of the main artists in that, and then there were a few other ones. I think Bruce Timm did some, but it's when they took the Hanna-Barbera characters, Johnny Quest.
oh yeah, I never
Space
ended up
Ghost,
I never ended up getting those, and I wanted those so bad.
Not Hawkman, but Birdman, all those. Dude, it's a great read. And if you get them,
Galaxy Trio,
Galaxy Trio, Herculoids,
Space Ghost.
yep, they're all in there.
And they made them. They made the entire all those stories were like so badass. I heard, but I couldn't get a hold of any of them. They were sold out everywhere.
Incredible. There's another one if you really like Hanna-Barbera and you like Steve Rude. He did for Comico in the mid to early 80s. He did a Space Ghost one shot that's absolutely incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, Space Ghost one shot, and getting the Hanna-Barbera Saturday Morning Heroes from the 60s is almost impossible. And Steve Rude did a couple issues of the Johnny Quest series by Comico too.
Yeah, I've got a one shot of the Mighty Heroes. And it's great, but I put it up on display in my younger days when I was too stupid to realize that you don't have any shades and the sun's going to come in one of these windows
and bleach the hell out of it.
It's going to turn it into a white cover, and it did.
And it did.
It's like a light baby blue on the cover and a lot of white.
Oh man, but dude, this is such a good book. I still think though, I mean, this where'd it go? That first splash of the Hulk is so good. I mean, we need to one day we need to read the first Hulk just to read it again. I've read it about 20 times. It doesn't matter.
Sure, you just send me your original copy and we'll be fine.
I don't have an original. I wish I did.
Okay, well, Father's Day's coming up. I'm sure my kid's not buying me anything. You might as well get me something.
Yeah, that's my one. I actually asked somebody. I saw one and had a chance to get one in the 90s and didn't have the money and kicked myself in the ass now because I saw one back in January at a convention and I asked how much it was out of curiosity and the guy said it's $6,000. Are you interested? I said, yeah, I'm interested. But if I spent $6,000 on a comic, my wife would kill me. She'd probably dismember me. She'd be like, oh, look, we've got an electric chainsaw. I don't have to worry about pulling the cord.
I now have the area to bury him in.
See?
I'm I'm gonna get a wood chipper and fill in that big gaping hole in our muddy road so we don't get flooded out anymore.
Yeah, it's like it'll be like on the damn on Fargo, and we'll take it the guy in the wood chipper as your partner.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, like I said, this is a 5 out of 5 all day for me, man. I absolutely love this issue.
You know you're in trouble when the wife walks in the room and you hear.
Yeah. Hey, he just died the other day. You got to leave him alone.
Did he?
Ned Beatty. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Somebody else, another actor died today too.
I'm not sure about today.
The actor that played the salesman on WKRP in Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah.
Crap. Yeah, dude, we're definitely getting old. But yeah, I sent that to y'all the other day, and you didn't see it. I know you've heard John Boy and Billy, right? The radio show guys. Okay, it's a southern thing. They come out of North Carolina. They have a huge following. You have to go online, but it's called the John Boy and Billy radio show, and they're on. They do sometimes classic rock, sometimes country. It depends on what station, but they have their show and then they play the music in between it. But they have a song somebody sung called "Ned Beatty Had the Hardest Part" about deliverance. But his best, I'll tell you, Ned Beatty's best role, you've seen Network, right?
Yeah.
Dude, in Network, he's incredible. So, and I know I mentioned it to you earlier. So next week you're good with, we're going to do another a versus book, not a team up, but a versus book. We're doing Superman versus Wonder Woman.
Are we?
Yeah, that's what I was talking. You said you okay.
Yeah, fine. I don't care what we read.
What we read? I have never read it. I tried to buy a copy, but every time I try and buy a copy that's in decent shape, they get I get outbid on them. And that one, I can't remember who the writer is, but I know it's Garcia Lopez is the artist. And
that's why you want to read it, because your favorite artist is doing it.
Probably my favorite DC artist. Yeah. Garcia Lopez.
Is that one of the Treasury editions?
Yes, it's a Treasury edition. It's not a regular book, so it's a limited run. It was a $2. You had to spend off $2 and send it for it to get Superman versus Wonder Woman.
We actually had a toy store by us that carried that would carry the Treasury comics.
Yeah.
But the problem was I could save up enough money for one, and they would have, and I had the number one from each one. I never had the continuing ones. They did New Hope in 2 Treasury editions.
Yes, that's right.
Part 1 and part 2 of New Hope, right? So It was like these 2 big Treasury editions. Everybody had the first one. Nobody had the second one. Same thing. They did Battlestar Galactica too. So the original Battlestar 2-part, the multi-part episode that's the first episode now, but was originally the Battlestar Galactica movie.
From back in the day when they were talking about Egypt and the little stupid robot dog and everything.
Yeah, the good one. And
the Braves finally scored.
Oh.
And he's in third. Safe. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you just used your credit card to buy all the My Little Pony comics online.
We may have them somewhere still. We got a bunch of them anyway.
I know my daughters are all in her room, so. But yeah, it's that'll be cool to read that next week. And yeah. I did a video earlier today because Scout Comics, James Hayek III, who's one of the partners in Scout,
Yeah.
made another company and partnered with the company that he's partners with,
Yeah.
to bring a new face to digital comics platform, where
Okay.
they're not charging full price like Marvel and DC is if you buy a digital comic, but they put collectability into it.
Okay.
It's I did the video on it. It's what it is. It's a collectible card, and you scratch off the code on the collectible card, and you download the PDF, and you can do it right from Scout's website, right?
All right.
And the card is collectible. It also comes with a piece of art which folds in two. It looks like a greeting card almost, but I guess it's supposed to be like a mini comic.
Okay.
It's going to look like a mini comic, and there'll be art from the comic inside of that, and then the collector's card is in there. Well, the collector's cards will also be made in as chase cards, so you can, where there'll be holofoil cards,
Yeah.
metal
Sparkly
cards,
metal cards, all that stuff.
create a signature cards, and blah 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 blah.
I actually found some of my old cards the other day. I got a whole bunch of the. You remember the Conan cards?
Nope, never got those.
Really? Yeah, where they've got like it's Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo and all those guys. I found some Conan cards and I found some heavy metal cards.
Heavy metal
With,
cards I had. I found like 2 or 3 series of Olivia de Havilland cards that I have. I guess I bought a box of Crow cards from the Brandon movie.
Yeah.
And I opened them all, and I still had the original box, and all the cards are still in there. And I'm like, well, I don't really want these.
Yeah, I've seen some of the Olivia cards. They're nice too.
Well, yeah, they're all newbie cheesecake stuff.
And
nothing, but we should probably end the stream. See you next week, everybody.